Hey, Cornerstone. Happy Wednesday. I remember being in high school. I don't remember the class, but there's this one particular exercise I remember doing. They had us arranged in groups of about 5 or 6. And the idea was that we were in a lifeboat. And each of us was given a character identity. Like there was a teacher, and a builder, and a musician, and a doctor. And the idea was, and there were 6 of us, and there was only room for 5 people in this lifeboat. So in this shipwreck scenario, we had to work together to determine which skills would be valued the most in this particular situation. And we had to determine who was most valued in that scenario and how we came to that decision. Ultimately, we were to decide who was going to get tossed out of the lifeboat. I don't remember who we threw out, but I've thought about that exercise every once in a while over the last 30 years or so. I remember being really bothered by this idea that some of us were more valued, some of us were expendable, some of us were more worthy than others. Our world ascribes a similar grading system to people, to this lifeboat economy, right? The most attractive, the most popular, the most powerful people tend to be valued more highly or seen as more important. At some point, humanity just stopped identifying ourselves by who God made us to be, and the names, the words that God used to describe us. Beautiful, beloved, cherished, son, and daughter. And we started to define our identity by comparing ourselves to other people, most often, usually less desirable people than us. And so this metaphor holds true just as today as it did back in school, that all humanity is in this overcrowded lifeboat, and we're all fighting to prove our worth, to prove our value, and prove that we're not the one that should get thrown overboard. When we read the Gospels, we see that Jesus refused to participate in that kind of sorting of people, right? He tells us that we should not despise or think little of the little ones, those seen as being of less value. There's a time when the disciples start to play this lifeboat game, and they ask Jesus, who's the most important? Who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? In Matthew 18, Jesus tells this story about a shepherd and a lost sheep. He says, what do you think? If a man owns 100 sheep and one of them wanders away, will he not leave the 99 on the hills and go look for the one that has wandered off? And if he finds it, I tell you the truth, he's happier about that one sheep than about the 99 that didn't wander off. In the same way, your Father in heaven is not willing that any of these little ones should be lost. And the Good Shepherd is not interested in the lifeboat mentality. The Good Shepherd seeks out that lamb, not because it's important, not because it's big or flashy, but precisely because it's none of those things. It's little, and it's overlooked, and it's lost. And so when Jesus tells them that our Father in heaven is deeply concerned with the little ones, he's not just talking about children. I think that's the way we often read that. But he uses a very specific word there. And it can mean children, but it can also mean anybody that's little or least in terms of rank or value or privilege. I think it's true that if our thinking about the kingdom of God gets distorted by our ideas about greatness and importance, then we will inevitably have a very distorted view of who God is. We'll spend time prioritizing things that Jesus taught were meaningless. We'll be tempted to climb into that lifeboat and tempted to push somebody else out of it. That is not the kingdom of God that Jesus proclaimed. So this week I want to challenge myself, I want to challenge all of us and encourage us to take some time to pay attention to the little ones around us, to seek them out and lift them up. Make sure that they know that they are seen and loved and valued, and that God's kingdom belongs to them as much as it belongs to anybody else. In doing so, I think we'll glimpse the heart of the Good Shepherd, and we will proclaim the goodness of that kingdom. We love you guys. We hope you all are safe. Have a great day.